What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chat with a Cop. I am your host, Sergeant Mike Medlin, and welcome back again. So we have some special guests, and we have a very, very special topic this week. Let me start on the other end. He's flanking me over there. That's going to be Corporalbria. He's new to the show. He's one of my right-hand man, but he's new to the show this week. But the guest of honor, multiple guests of honor, is we have the guys that own and work at Heavenly Cuts Barbershop. Heavenly Cuts, if you don't know, is right behind us. For those who don't know, I'll say we're at Town Hall right now doing our, this is kind of like a little podcast. I'm not real sure. Vlog. We'll call it a vlog. And right behind us in Forest Hill Shopping Center is a fantastic barbershop that this man, Brandon, to my left, owns, and it's called Heavenly Cuts Barbershop. And why they're so significant, one, is they give good haircuts. Let me just say that. But two, they have been gracious enough to allow us to come into their barbershop once a month and have what we call our barbershop rap sessions. And I know I've mentioned this in the past in some of our other episodes about when we're talking about how we do things in the community and how we're trying to be involved. But this is one thing I wanted for them to come on and talk about, and it'd be much more in depth than what I just tell you it's about. I want you guys to hear it from them about the importance of our hometown police department coming in and hearing from the African American community. We hear their concerns, we hear their suggestions, we hear their stories, because it's all about learning. It's all about them learning how we do things and how we do, or why we do the things we do. And it's all about us learning how the community is perceiving this, right? It's all about learning. It's all about becoming one team, right? We're a community. So I'm gonna get down the line here and let these two guys tell you who they are, a little bit about themselves, and we're going to go from there. So Brandon, he's the owner. Go ahead and take it away, buddy.
You can hear me?
Oh yeah, they can hear you.
Okay. How y'all doing? Name is Brandon Carmen. Been cutting professionally for 10 years. Heavenly Cuts, of course. A little bit about myself. I love sports. Of course, I played football in high school. I actually got into barbering just by cutting my hair, in the bathroom, just playing with it and cutting my hair, with friends. And they say, hey, man, you got something with this. So I just started doing it, and I never looked back. Once I went to barber school, I never looked back. How you guys doing today?
And going on down the line.
Ready? Well, my name is Erskine Searles. I'm originally from Garner. I was born and raised here, but I'm the founder of Heavenly Cuts. So I started in '01. But how me and Brandon come along was that he was raised with me. I took him on when he was maybe, 14, 15? So he's kind of like, he went off to school for a little bit. And it's like, I took him as a nephew under my wing, right? So I never had any problems out of him. So that's why he's there where he's at now, at Heavenly Cut. So, like I say, he is the owner now. I never had no problem out. I've been cutting for 25 years. And basically, that's about it.
Very good, very good. So Corporalbria down at the end. So can you tell our viewers a little bit about what exactly a barbershop rap session is?
Yeah, so barbershop raps, we set them up. We try to do one a month. We partner with them and another barbershop in town, Diamond Cuts. And it's really just a way for police to go in to the barbershop and try to bridge that gap with the African American community. And from what I noticed, the police department and everyone that's been inside those barbershop talks have been more comfortable and open to tough conversations that a lot of people, don't like the police, and you see what goes on in the media, and it's just a way for us to bridge that gap. And I've only been in this community spot for less than a year, but from what I noticed so far, it's been pretty successful, and it's a big part to Brandon and Diamond Cuts.
All right. So we'll hop back over here to Brandon. So can you tell the viewers some of the things that you've seen? Like, have you seen anything? So let's say it's not a Saturday where we're having a rap session. During the week when you have your regular, business people coming in, getting their cuts and everything, have you heard any other people talk about it, or have y'all had any side conversations about us having rap sessions there and kind of, like what it's kind of sparked, if anything?
Well, since we've had, what's been going on, 2 years now?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years now.
We actually have regular clients, and they always say, "Hey man, when is the next session? Like I can't miss it." I got some questions to ask, especially if it was a serious topic on the news, or something had happened with a cop, did some killings in a whole other state somewhere further. Man, I just want to know. I just want to know certain rules and certain regulations. I just gotta ask. I said, okay. So they actually come in our last session, we actually had one guy that just was, oh man, I missed it, man. I hate it, I missed it. I'm not gonna miss it again, because he really had some serious questions to ask you guys. And like I said, since we've done this for the last 2 years, we really have actually good feedback.
Yeah.
They're actually wanting to come and participate and ask you guys questions about any and everything that's, that they may have on their mind. Anything negative, no. It just that sometimes, like, and y'all can attest to it too, like if y'all see the walk-ins come up and they see like 10 of y'all in the shop, they look at the door, they look at and they're like, uh-oh, what's going on? Like, are y'all all right?
Right.
And they'll, no, come on in, and
that's exactly what we want, or we're trying to make better. We're trying to change. We don't want that reaction. We understand, as law enforcement officers, we understand that there have been decisions made, throughout the history of this country, all throughout the country, by law enforcement officers that have not been, let's just say, the greatest decision, right? Or that has caused distrust. We get that. So we're here and we're trying to bridge this, divide or this gap that may be between the law enforcement officers and the African American community, and we appreciate you let us come and do that. When I exactly what you're talking about, when I see young gentlemen walk up and they kind of peek in, and sometimes they'll even turn around and walk away. Yeah. It really hurts my heart because I wish they would come in. I wish they felt comfortable enough to come in and engage in conversation with us, because not only them but us, we can learn. We can learn more from why do you feel that way, and don't be afraid. Tell me why you feel that way, and let's have a civilized conversation about it. What do you think, bud? What do you think when you see these people, get kind of flustered, or not flustered, but maybe nervous to come in because we're in there?
Well, for me, they might know, they might not know. Most
Right.
time when they come in like that right there, and you see cops everywhere, it's like, what's going on in there?
Yeah, that's their first thought, right?
First thought, right? So they're just curious.
Yeah. But we want you guys on this show right now today to help stop that, because we're putting it out there to tell everyone to be looking out for the next rap sessions. We're going to put it on social media. So if you don't follow social media or follow Garner Police Department on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, go ahead, follow us, and be on the lookout for when we have another rap session. And please come. Feel free to come. It's a safe place. No one is going to bash anyone, in any way. We don't allow that, right, Brandon? This is your shop.
Correct.
We're not going to have any of that. What we will allow are tough conversations to happen, because that's what we want. We want the people in there to feel comfortable being uncomfortable, and we're okay with that. I'd be lying if I said that when we first started this, I wasn't scared out of my mind. Oh, yeah. I was scared out of my mind because it was something I wasn't used to. I wasn't comfortable being uncomfortable. But after doing a couple of them, and now for 2 years, I'm very comfortable. You guys are like my brothers now. And so we want that to continue down the line with other people in our community. Corporalbria, you've been getting your hair cut by these guys and the guys over at Diamond Cuts for a while. Have you ever gone in uniform and got your hair cut?
I have started recently, ever since I've been in this position.
And what kind of reaction do you normally get when you go in to get your hair cut?
You just get the awkward stares when you first walk in,
Yeah.
like, why is this cop in here? But yeah, and I mean, all it takes is, a few icebreakers, and you're having conversations like I'm a normal person. I'm not a cop. This is just my job, and they start to see me as a person, and not the cop in the barbershop.
You bring up a good point. So we want people to look beyond the badge,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Because everyone in this room, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us in this room right now, and every single one of us is a human being above all else. We all have families. Doesn't matter what it really doesn't matter what color our skin or where we came from. None of that matters, right? What matters is that we treat each other with human, decency, with just be good people, right? And so we come in these places and we want to break the ice. We want it to get to the point where if I didn't know Brandon and I saw Brandon in the community, he would feel comfortable walking up to me and be like, "Hey, I remember you from the rap session. You're a pretty cool guy. How you been? How's your family? How's work going? Versus I don't want to talk to him because he's a police officer. That's not what we want to see. That's what we're trying to get away from. So I actually appreciate you going to get your hair cut in uniform, because that helps break the ice just by itself, just walking in and being able to go in there and sit down and be like, what's going on? Because there's a lot of people that wouldn't do that just out of fear, not fear of being hurt, but just fear of just being uncomfortable. So, what are some of the topics that we've covered that you can think of that's really in your mind? I mean, there's been a couple of them that have been more controversial than others. I know recently we've had a few instances going on, but can you think of something that we've talked about that you can tell that has changed really someone's way of thinking? I'm trying to think of one that we talked about that got pretty deep. We have talked about a bunch. We have talked about a bunch.
Some of the things that we talked about that actually stuck with me, I don't, maybe it was, I know, because sometimes I would talk to you guys individually as well, but I wonder if I want to say in our beginning sessions, I remember, I think we was talking something simpler than a traffic violation, a traffic stop.
Okay, so how
would we how to cooperate in a traffic stop? How do you go about a traffic stop without, any mishaps or something like that?
And that's a very common question that we get, because that's more than likely how you're going to come across a law enforcement officer, more than likely.
Right.
Right.
And I just remember, the officer saying, just put your where you need to be. Don't be aggressive. Just kind of just giving you tips like, okay, if you got caught speeding, you got caught speeding. It is what it is.
Yeah, nobody likes to get a ticket.
Yes, sir. No, just certain things and certain mannerisms that you just have to do, because not for nothing, you guys are doing your job. Yeah. And if he's fidgeting in the car and whatever, you don't know, what type of time he's on. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you got to protect your life. And like you said, you have to go home with your kids. So it's like certain things like we just talked about, how to react in a traffic violation.
And I bring that up. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I just wanted to see if there's something that popped in your head, because, these are the type of things that we talk about in these rap sessions. We talk about vehicle stops. We talk about current events. We talk about people that have questions about like weapons, right? Like carrying weapons, like how you can carry a weapon, carry concealed versus open carry, where you can and can't carry. So there are a bunch of things that get covered in these rap sessions. So again, I implore that you come, please, if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, because the police department is open to some suggestions within, the scope that we can, right? Because there's some things that we just can't change because the law says we have to do it, or policy says we have to do it that way. But by all means, guys, please be on the lookout for the next rap session that's going to be coming up. I don't know exactly off the top of my head when it's going to be, but it'll be on social media for sure. Corporalbria, before you worked here in Garner, you worked for Raleigh Police Department.
Yes.
And in Raleigh, do they do stuff kind of like this as well? Have you seen things like this happening?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and so I say that because we're not the only ones doing it. We see it across the nation, really. We see a bunch of people trying to do the right thing. I've been to a couple of the rap sessions in Raleigh with the Raleigh Police Department, and there's a lot of good officers out there. There's a lot of good officers out there that are here to do the right thing, here to do their job well, and we just want to make sure that everybody in the community understands that. You've been cutting hair a long time, man. You've been around. Right, because I know you know our chief pretty well too. Back from when y'all had a conversation. Middle school, right? Mm-hmm. You drove the bus. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. But guys, I lived in Garner my whole life, and this man over here has too. And we were, obviously he's older than I am. Not saying you're an old man, but he's older than I am. But we've been around each other for the longest time. He drove our chief on a school bus. I would have never known that if it wasn't for something like this rap session. Right. Never.
Right.
Right? And so this is the type of things that we like about this too, is that it's not just, he knows me as a police officer, but he knows me as Mike as well now, right? And I know things about him that I would have never known had we not started this. And so stuff like that's awesome. Now, I go back to what I was saying. So you've been around for a minute. Can you speak to how you've seen things change from back in the day when you first started cutting hair in the barbershop to how it is now? Like, how has things changed over time in your eyes?
My eyes is more like technology is changing. People are moving in.
Yep.
So it's a big difference now.
Yeah.
You don't know who's who now.
That's true.
Garner's not the same no more. So, people coming in from everywhere.
A lot bigger than it used to be, right?
You never know who knows who.
That's true.
People ain't gonna tell you everything that everybody's watching. You watching us, we watching y'all. We seeing how you carry yourself.
Exactly.
So you got to be on point. If you're gonna be in law enforcement, that's what you need to do. If I'm gonna be a barber, I need to make sure this is what I'm doing, cause somebody watching me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if I'm taking shortcuts, you're gonna get caught sooner or later. So you got to want to do it the right way.
Absolutely.
So like I say, you don't know who knows who.
That's good advice right there. Yep.
Has barbershop raps changed your perspective on police officers in general as a whole?
The rap session?
Yes.
Yes, we need to get more people in. We don't want to have the same people all the time. So I want to hear from different scenarios, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. And which is why we're doing this.
Just because I know you two, if I go ahead and break the law, I know you're going to do your job.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Then I messed up.
Yeah.
You still got to do your job.
Absolutely.
Not just because I know you. You're not supposed to, I'm going to give him a break. That break might cost you.
It goes both ways for us, right? So if we mess up in our position and our job, we should be held accountable as well. And we've talked about that in some of the rap sessions. I think a lot of, or not a lot, I can't say that. That's a lot's a strong word. Some people, believe that just because you wear a badge that you get off scot-free with a get out of jail free card. And one, that's not the case. But two, it shouldn't be the case. Obviously, like we should be held at a higher standard because we have, that responsibility.
For a reason, you're not.
Exactly. So again, these are some things I'm throwing out that we talk about in these rap sessions. So go ahead, Brandon.
I have a question for you guys. So being that, like I said, in the last, couple of years, and we've kind of gained this type of relationship amongst each other, how do you guys feel? Like, say if y'all are out on duty and we just happen to see each other in passing, say if you're at the, Target shopping center with a call or some kids in Garner or something, but y'all are doing y'all job, and then like we happen to walk in Garner. What's up, Bria? What's up? And how you doing today? How does that make y'all feel when the community is actually speaking to y'all, even when y'all on your job and have your uniform on?
How does it make us feel?
How does it make you feel, like embracing? Hey, how y'all doing? Y'all doing all right today?
It makes me.
How's work? Y'all all right?
It makes me feel so good. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you why. As a person who grew up in this town like you did, if I don't get spoken to, and I feel like I'm getting the evil eye all the time, then I feel absolutely just horrible. when people talk and are friendly, it makes me feel like I've earned someone's trust, right? And so it makes me feel really, really good when people speak and say, "Hey, how you doing, officer?" But I want to get further. I want to get on a deeper level. I don't want to be called officer, to be honest with you. Like I want to be able to, you walk up like, "What's up, Mike?" You know, that's what I want. You know, because there's a time and place to be an officer, right?
Of course.
So,
but if you're in uniform and a guy, "Hey, what's up, Mike?" Like, is that like a sign of respect or disrespect, or is it kind of like more?
for me, it's a sign of respect, right? It shows me that you're comfortable enough with me
to call you Mike.
Exactly. Yeah. But maybe that's just me. You know, another officer might be like, "You better call me officer." I don't know. You know.
Gotcha.
But what do you think, Corporalbria? Do you think it's the same thing? Like, do you want to be talked to? Like, do you want people to approach you and have conversations?
Yeah,
with
I'd rather 100 times out of 100 somebody say, "Hey, how you doing, Anthony?" than just stare at me like I'm the awkward person in the corner.
Gotcha.
And you don't want to say a word just because I'm wearing a uniform.
Well,
And I'm not even there to enforce. You know, I'm just there. Sometimes cops are just in the spots. They're not enforcing any laws at that time. It's okay to say hi.
Right.
And it's also works both ways. We need to be out of our cars and approach you guys when it's not enforcement actions and say hello to you guys as well. Yeah. So you guys don't just know, officers in this room.
Because in the public eye, you would think like, did he just call the officer by his first name? And they're like, they'll be shocked. They'll be surprised. Just that's in general nature.
Yeah.
People think, wow, did he just say, "What's up, Anthony?"
But in the big cities, it would be hard to do that just for the sheer number of people and officers. But I feel like we can somewhat get on that level in a place like this because we are a lot smaller. We have a lot less officers. So it's not necessarily far-fetched to get close to that level. So, yeah, I was at Walmart the other day, and I had to stop and get something to drink. I was about to die of thirst, and the dude walked up to me, and he was like, "Hey, man," he actually saw me on this thing. He was like, "I saw you on this Barbershop rap thing, or the chat thing." I said, "You mean the Facebook thing?" He's like, "Yeah." He was like, "That's pretty cool." I was like, "Yeah, I appreciate you watching it." But something that simple, a guy I've never met before walks up and says that he likes what we're doing. It made me feel good. Yeah, so... Oh, is it here?
You want to get Rico?
We got another. Is it Rico? Rico's in the house, y'all. Rico's in the house.
I think he's going to be one of the people that definitely changed his mind on law enforcement because of barbershop reps.
Rico's the man. Yeah. We're gonna put. What y'all think about putting Rico on the spot when he comes in? What do you think?
All the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he likes conversations like this.
He does.
For me personally, we still.
Yeah, we're live. It's all good. Let's just have a conversation. We're just chatting.
Well, me personally, it's kind of like I'm starting to get into my comfort zone and talking and speaking and about things like this. So most of the time when we're at the, I say my little thing, but I'm starting to get out my shell.
Good.
I think there's still officers that are still. We have new officers.
Right.
That they're still nervous when they walk in too, so we have to break that as well.
And I've noticed that, and they would just.
Yeah.
So it's just once
They don't know what to
So when
say,
they get in there
man.
next time, you got to put them on the spot. And you got to ask them something.
Yeah, put him on the spot. Like, call him out, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rico.
Here,
What's
take my
up,
seat,
brother?
man. It's your time to shine.
How am I shining?
Don't be nervous.
He nervous, ain't he?
Come in and talk. Don't be nervous. If you're an officer, we trying to figure you out.
Yeah.
If you fidgety, it's like,
Yeah.
how would he act
Absolutely.
under pressure?
Absolutely. So that's going to be on us, though, to make sure we relay to our officers, one, we want you there. And two, when you come, don't be a wallflower. Like, have a voice and don't be afraid to answer questions and speak up and, become known, right? Because right now you're just Officer B or Officer C or Officer D. We need to know your names. We need to know about you, right? Rico.
Yes, sir.
What's up, brother?
What's going on?
Man, I appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir.
We done got some good conversation already.
Okay.
But you're here. I want you to introduce yourself to our viewers out there. Obviously he's a barber with Heavenly Cuts, but I want you to kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how long you've been cutting hair, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, well, I am a barber, Rico Harris at Heavenly Cuts Barbershop. I've been cutting hair professionally approximately 12 years. I am a part of the clergy. I am married. I have in total 7 children. I reside here in the town of Garner.
Very cool, man. Rico, I'll just kind of throw some things at you. Just some of the things that we've kind of discussed so far. So we've been doing this barbershop rap for about 2 years now or so. How, in those 2 years' time, has this rap session, if at all, helped change your perception of law enforcement?
Well, I think the time has been close to 3 rather
Has it
than
been
just
3 now?
about 2, because pandemic been going on about 2. We started way before then. But anyway,
that's about true, yeah.
So,
19, 20, 21,
20,
oh, wow.
yeah.
So 19.
so
I think 2020
So-
messed me up because we didn't
but
do it.
it did.
well, when I first moved here to the town of Garner, I had my thoughts about the police here, and oftentimes when I would see a traffic stop, I would say, it really don't take that many. But when you guys came in and you guys began to explain things, at the end of the day, you want to go home too. And we don't know the complaint. We don't know the reason for the traffic stop. So after going through some of the barbershop talks, what happens is that my eyes were open actually to you guys' job, what you're having to do. And see, once that happened, I said, okay, that makes sense, because they're just doing their job. So we as civilians, if we'll do our part and just, do what we're supposed to do, then everybody's gonna leave and go home.
Right. And it's a two-way street, right? Right, Rico? Like we need to understand, if we pull over a young African-American male, he might be extremely nervous. He might not have been privy to these nice barbershop raps that we've been having. He might be extremely nervous, and we need to understand what may be going through his mind.
Right.
Right. Would you say that's fair to say?
Yes, sir. That's very fair to say. So during these barbershop talks, they need to become not only barbershop talks, but somehow we need to implement them amongst the community. How we need to do that, I don't know. But we always inviting people, but it's got to be bigger than the barbershop in order for the young African-American male that's being pulled over here to understand just this town. Other cities are going to have their problems, but it seems like you guys are trying to make a difference here.
For sure. Yeah, and that's another thing that we've mentioned, time and time again in these rap sessions. And it's to nobody's fault, because it's inevitable that things are going to get brought up when it comes to like current events, when things happen and you see it in the news, this person was shot, this person was killed or whatever. And it's what you got, Kenosha, you got, Baltimore, you got all these places these things are happening.
Right.
And we get these questions, and rightfully so, we should be getting questions like this. But sometimes, we can't always answer those questions because those happen in a different jurisdiction. They have different policies and stuff like that. We can only, and when I say we, I'm talking about the Garner Police Department. We can control the Garner Police Department. We can't control RPD. We can't control Cary. We can't control Detroit, Michigan. We can't control what happens there. So this is why we're choosing to do this in our community, so we can change the way that our community, hopefully looks at us, and hopefully it's in a positive light.
Ed, can I say something?
Absolutely.
And I feel that way, I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying.
Yeah.
Based on these, killings, shootings, whatever, society is putting y'all in this one box. Police as a whole.
Right.
Not police in this city, town. Nah, we're different. And I just feel bad for y'all, because y'all getting scrutinized for something somebody did, and that's thousands of miles away.
Sure.
It don't have nothing to do with me. Don't have nothing to do with you guys. Don't have nothing to do with the state. Nothing. And it's crazy. And that's why I say it's very important that people need to attend these type of.
100%.
Well, if I can come behind Brandon on that,
Please
and
do.
I'm just gonna slightly disagree. I understand, because we work together every day, but I'm gonna slightly disagree. I don't think that society has put you guys in this box. I think history has put you in the box. Being a black male all my life, I've seen some things, and I've not always been treated fair. So I think history plays a part in this. society, the media department plays a big part as well. But I think history, when a white officer comes in and then it's a black male laying on the ground dead, I think history is constantly repeating itself. Now, we know that there's other ethnic backgrounds that are being shot. White guys are being shot too. But it just seems like the black man get the bad end of the stick all the time. So I think history plays a part on that. I slightly disagree.
I agree. No, I agree with Brandon, and I agree with you too, Rico. Before you came here, we did just talked about that, talking about how history has kind of helped shape and mold people's mindsets and perception of law enforcement. And unfortunately, we can't go back in time. I wish we
absolutely.
could. I really do wish we could.
But what you guys are doing here,
right?
It may not bridge the whole gap, but it bridged the gap here in this community, because and I see this going to grow.
What's going to grow?
As it grows, then the community get to see who you are. You guys need to let the community know who you are and what you're about. Just not an officer that's just here with the bracelets to take somebody to jail all the time. If you have a sense of humor, let the folks know that. I mean, you guys, we have got to know y'all for the last 2 or 3 years, however long it's been, and it's a pleasant feeling when you come to the shop.
So, and just in my experience of my 35 years of living, I've never been a troublemaker or anything like that. So my perception of a cop is different from somebody that's, been in and out of trouble and has to deal with different things, because I've never really, had any bad interactions with you guys. Yeah. So that's why I can talk to. That's just me. That's my experience. Right. But I can only speak for Brandon.
Sure.
But somebody else, they're probably like, no, I just don't like cops, period. Just for any reason. That's just mine, So.
Yep.
And I'll come behind Mr. Brandon again. Me being on both sides, all sides of the fence, as a criminal and just as a regular Joe. And I've been dealt with the harshness due to all of it, and I've seen it, and I'm glad Mr. Brandon Carmen hasn't had to deal with those things, because it could put a bad taste in your mouth.
For sure.
Yeah. But I've seen it on all sides of the fence, though.
Gotcha. And I know we've mentioned in some of our rap sessions, I know myself and Corporalbria have both been school resource officers. And when we're talking about our youth, it's very, very important, because that's a tough age when you got middle and high schoolers, because you got so many influences around you in this world, way more. And like we spoke earlier, we got social media, just the regular media, TikTok, media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I mean, they're all over, right? And so
Major 5 right there.
We see as police officers, and I saw, and he saw, I know too. When I was an SRO, and you spend every day with these youth, doesn't matter what color they are, white, black, Hispanic, doesn't matter, right? But you spend every single waking second during the daytime pretty much with these youth, they begin to trust you, right? And trust is a big, big thing when it comes to youth, especially. And I remember I'd be standing there, and one of my friends from patrol would walk in for no reason. No one's in trouble. He would just walk in and say hello or see what's up. And tell me if I'm lying, Bria. The kids would be like, "Yo, Medlin, who's that? He cool?" And it's like, he's all right, man. He's cool, because they don't know them. It's the fear of the unknown.
History, bro. History.
Exactly.
History don't play the part in that. Now y'all don't roll in. You was one deep. Now you two deep. We don't know the other one.
But they know me.
Yeah, but they know you. But until you let them know.
Exactly. They don't trust him. They don't know him.
So you gave him the green light.
But we're doing these rap sessions to try and help fix that a little bit with our community and our office. We want y'all, when I say y'all, the community, to trust us, right? We want y'all to understand that we're going to do our job. We're here to do our job. And we want to do it the right way every single time, because that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. And I think it helps with the diversity training that you guys have done in the past, because I've actually been a part of it, been a panel on one diversity training, and and if I can say something in those panel sessions to get my Caucasian brother to see something different, then that's what I want to. I will continue to be a part of them. If I could share my stories and what I've seen, because the one thing I know is that in the white household, in the black household, the language is different.
Sure.
The talks are different with our children. We had this with one of your officers that was fairly new, I think maybe 2 sessions back or something. He didn't understand. But at the end of the session, I think he had an understanding. I'm telling mine how to survive and come home. I want my son or daughter to come home. I don't want to go to his funeral when he leave the house the next time I view his body, or her body.
And I never, personally, as a white man, I've never had to even think about possibly, not my kids are young, but it never crossed my mind to ever, exactly,
to have that conversation. That when they get driver's license, how to act, how to do, you know what I'm saying? The talks are just different.
But important. And it's important that I understand that. It's important, very important, right? But yeah, no, guys, this is awesome. I know we've been going for a little bit now, and we go as long as y'all want to. But I appreciate you guys coming on. We've had some really good conversation this evening. I want everyone watching to please, if you're watching now, it means you pretty much following us on Facebook. But if you got friends that don't follow us who are interested or could be interested in becoming part of this, please get them to follow us so that when the date comes out that we're going to have our next Barbershop Wrap, they're able to come. We want as many people to come and be engaged. If you want to come and you want to listen, that's fine too. But if you've got something to talk about, if you want to get something off your chest that maybe you saw or heard, or if you just want clarification, or if you just want to come in and meet me and Bria, that's fine too. We don't care, right? Come in and get your hair cut, all right? Just come, be a part of it. And nothing's off the table, right? Again, the only thing we ask is there's no disrespect, none of that stuff. We're going to be respectful all the way around, but we want to have these hard conversations. We want this to be a place that we can have these conversations and learn and grow. So, guys, thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for allowing us to come into your barbershops every, couple of weeks. I know we take up space.
No problem.
But man, it's been great. And the community thanks you. If y'all have anything else to say before we close it out, you're more than welcome to, but
Pretty much good.
yeah.
I probably would like to see more, I don't know, for the youth.
Okay.
I don't know if they got a crosswalk right here on Avisboro.
Which part of Avisboro?
Any part of it. They can just feel free. Say if they're from 12 to 16, they can feel freely to walk the food line or anywhere over in Forest Hills, right?
Okay.
They know it's a patrol officer out there.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of like lets them know that, hey, I can at least come out and go to the store, walk to the store like we could back when I was younger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't see that, it's like, nah, I ain't going out there.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you stay right across the street from the store.
Exactly.
So if you get a couple of dollars in your pocket, you want to say, man, I'm going to walk the food line. Because I know there's a cop out here at least going to peep out and do something. Say something. What you doing out here, whatever. You don't see that now.
Gotcha. So we need to, like Bria said, we got to get out of our cars more. Yeah. We got
If the kids see you out, they'll talk to you more.
Yeah.
But if they don't see, it's like, oh, man. Like, I might see you every blue moon. You know what I'm saying? I don't know you like that. But I know you quiet, laid back.
That's just Dave. He's
You
quiet.
know what I'm saying?
He's real quiet. There are a lot of police officers or police departments that are doing this. So I mean, this isn't, like I said before, this isn't something that's new. We just kind of we're probably a little bit later than some of the other ones getting involved in it. But hey, we're here now. That's all that matters. So.
And I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
How do y'all feel like now that y'all started this? Like, how do y'all feel about it? And as far as the successes, you know what I'm saying? And of course, it's gonna have to just grow and grow. But
It has to.
how do y'all feel like about doing this? Like,
I feel really good about it. Again, I go back to SRO days because before I was an SRO, I was so uncomfortable, just being honest, so uncomfortable dealing with like the African American community because I wasn't used. I growing up, that's not what I was used to. But when I became an SRO and I started dealing with all walks of life, it made me come out of my shell like crazy, right? So going into these barbershop raps, I was ready to go. But some of these officers that are brand new, young, I can tell they're nervous because they're uncomfortable. But that's okay because we're gonna get them out of that shell. But what do you think, Bria? How do you feel since these things have started?
For me personally, I mean, everybody's different. So for me, I never really had an issue with it. I was never uncomfortable doing those things, which is why I don't mind being the person that sets them up. And, you know, if I'm the only person in there, I'm fine. Newer officer, hasn't been exposed to as much in life. You know, they have different background than me. Everybody has a different experience the first time they go to a barbershop rep. So I can't really talk for other people. I mean, for me, I don't see how it isn't going to be successful for everybody to end up meeting you guys at some point. I mean, it has to be that way. It's the only way this will work. It can't just be me and Mike and Dave and the chief every time. You know what I mean?
right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, that's gonna be on us, and we're gonna work on getting more people there that actually want to come. Like we're not making people come there. We need people to want to come out and further, you know, grow.
And the same on our end. You know, we can't have the same guys that's asking every time.
My favorite are the old heads that sit there. They get that. Dude, I'm dying laughing.
We still have a few that hasn't came to these sessions yet that has questions.
Good.
And I can't, you know,
Bring them.
I'm just excited to once they finally come and want to engage in the conversation. I'm actually looking forward to that.
Good. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to new conversation. Yep. Rico, anything?
No, sir. I am, all is well with me.
Good deal, man. Guys, thanks again from the bottom of my heart. Thank y'all for coming. I know that, you know, we're taking time out of your personal schedule. Thanks for opening your shop doors to us and the community and the police department. So, guys, seriously, come see them, get your hair cut, come by, have some good conversations. Keep an eye out. Corporalbria will get the next date set up pretty soon in March, right? March is the next one we're doing.
It'll be next coming weeks.
Okay. Yep. So, again, thanks for tuning in. We're going to see if we can have more of these night sessions of Chat with a Cop and just keep an eye out for the next session on online. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.